Okay, this is our mounting instructions to mount the build surface to the flexi plate on the round kits that have the cutaways. Right now that's our 310 diameter and our 220 diameter kit. There might be others in the future. I'm going to show you how to do that. So first let's look at the kit. We'll look at what you need, what tools you need, and then we'll do the process. So all of the Wham Bam kits come with a packet with instructions, a few nice Wham Bam stickers, and some aluminum shims. They're backwards so you can't see they're aluminum, and that's to flatten out your bed if it has any slight little dips. They come with a handy steel wool pad. You'll want to get your own in the future. I use 000 steel wool. It's real nice for keeping your build surface revitalized, cleaning out any contaminants that might be in it. And I just use them between every print real quickly. I'll show you how to do that. And then you're going to have your PEX build surface. If you bought the full flexible build system, we also have PEI, and we'll be coming out with other build surfaces real soon. But you can see this is the 310 round with cutaways. We have your flexi plate and the magnetic sheet. We're not going to show the magnetic sheet mount today. That's for different videos. So I'm going to just put that aside. We're just going to be working with the flexi plate and the PEX sheet. Now the tools that we're going to need in order to apply this nicely, we're going to need some paper towel, lots of fresh paper towel. I always have that handy because like I said, use alcohol, paper towel, and steel wool between each print quickly. You're going to need your steel wool. We're going to need some isopropyl alcohol. I keep it in a handy little squeeze bottle. You're going to need either a credit card, a wooden dowel, a rolling pin, or possibly even a film applicator. If you have one, these are really handy. You're going to also need to download and print the alignment guide. I'm going to show you how to do it with the alignment guide. It is possible to do it without if you want to just cite it, but this one's showing you how to use this guide. It doesn't even have to be printed so tall. You might want to just scale in the slicer the Z height to be half the size. You don't need that height. And that's about it. Now you want to work in a real clean area. I've pre-cleaned this table off. Any dust or dirt that might get on these things while you're applying it is going to create a bubble. There's no two ways about it. So you got to work really clean and work on a flat surface. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean my flexi plate, a little bit of alcohol, some paper towel, nice circular movements, make sure paper towel's not leaving any fiber around. If you need to touch the plate, touch it on the tab. That's always going to be sticking out from the build surface, so you have no worries about where to put your fingers. Okay. Once we've done that, oh, and we're going to need some tape. I don't know if I mentioned that. You're going to need either clear packing tape or duct tape. In this case, I'm just going to use some packing tape. You just cut a strip, more or less the length of the alignment guide. You turn it upside down, and then depending on where you're aligning from, if you're touching your flexi plate while you're doing this, just re-wipe before applying. Go ahead and lay your flexi plate down so it's onto the tape. Burnish it a little bit with your same paper towel that you clean the surface with. And there we go. We've got a nice alignment guide that we could butt our PEX up against while we're taping it down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my PEX sheet and I'm going to start pulling back the backing paper until I've exposed about a quarter of this. Be careful while you're pulling it because the ones with the cutouts will tend to tear here as well. So peel up all the high points. You want to peel up these two corners and then here until we can get maybe a 2-inch exposed area here. Okay. I'm going to do that and we'll come back in a second when that's ready. The backing paper peeled back, and I'm just going to fold it. Be careful you're not going to touch the adhesive while you're doing this. Just going to fold it back on itself. And what we want to do is we want to position it so that the sheet is well positioned over the flexi plate. You don't want the glue to touch the flexi plate yet. We just want to use the alignment guide to help us line it up, make sure front and back are all aligned. I'm pushing down on the area that still has the backing paper. Okay, now when I'm pretty sure that it's right, I'll go ahead and push down a little area near the alignment guide, make sure it's still, if it lays flat, it's accurate. Looks pretty good to me. I'm going to push a little bit in the center. I'll tell you why in a second. The center is so important. But now that I've got that, I could remove the tape and the alignment guide. We're done with that. You can throw it away or use it as a coat hanger or something. Okay, now the process is pretty simple. We're going to always work pushing in towards the center and then out from there. And this is really important because we want to eliminate any possibility of trapping an air bubble between the glue, the PEX, and the flexi plate. If you were to work on the outside and work inward, you'd have a little area of air that just can't escape. So I'm showing you with a credit card. You could do this with a rolling pin. I prefer it with one of these rollers. We'll get to that in a second. So after I've gotten it quite a bit down, then I'll go ahead and start pulling this backing tape off. As I'm pulling the backing tape off, I want to be careful that it's all coming off the sides. It's not tearing at the corners. We'll have to just be careful about that. I also don't want to create a lot of tension. I'll pull the backing tape back quite a bit, and I'll hold it in the air. I don't want to create a lot of tension, and I'll let the roller pull it down in the center. I don't lay it down myself because I could trap air there once again. And then I work outwards from the center, outwards from the center. I roll up towards it, outwards from the center, outwards from the center. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull some more. I'm going to watch that the paper does not tear as I'm doing this. Oh, that really grabs. That one came out beautifully. Suppose another few inches, keep it held up in the air. Center in, and then out from the center, out from the center. That paper really does have a good grab. Center, out from the center. Like I said, you could do this with a wooden dowel, a squeegee, a plastic squeegee, a credit card. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and lay that down and go out from the center. And I want to now work my way around all over again from the center outward, everywhere on here. Just trying to burnish it down really well. We're trying not to get any bubbles that actually would create a raised area on the build surface. You're going to see some slight hazing, and this is natural with all of the 3M tapes. You usually don't see it on a lot of other build surfaces because they intentionally make them opaque black, opaque green, opaque blue, whatever, but you don't see through them. Our PEX is crystal clear, our PI is slightly yellowed, but you can see the glue underneath. Those little teeny hazing areas don't affect the performance at all, and they tend to go away over a period of use with heat, so they're okay. You just want to make sure you don't have any raised bubbles here. Now, once we're done with that, burnishing it down everywhere, we just want to peel up the backing plastic. Do not leave this protective film on your plate and print on it. It's not for printing. It was just to protect the PEX during production. You throw that away. We don't need it anymore. And we have a very well installed build surface on our flexi plate. Nice and good. Got a little bit of glue on the back of the flexi plate from the tape, so I'll clean that later. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to treat the surface with steel wool and alcohol. The very first time you've got to work the surface for a minute or two with the steel wool. We really want to get it to break through the very sealed outer layer that happens during productions of films as they're rolling it through rollers and compressing it and unifying it into a very consistent thickness. But that also makes for a very, very sealed outer layer. And we want to open those pores slightly so we get better grip. So we just do a lot of circular motions. I use a little bit of rubbing alcohol and the steel wool. You could do this for about a minute and a half. You're not going to see scratches because 000 steel wool is very, very fine. It's just going to take this from being super, super shiny to being a semi-gloss finish. It'll just mat it out a little bit, but it'll still be very flat and smooth. Your parts will have a beautiful bottom on them. Once you've done that for a minute or two, you're pretty good. Now we've got to clean it. And the cleaning process is pretty simple. You just want to take a sheet of paper towel, alcohol, clean it once, turn it over, clean it again. We're just trying to get off all the dust that we put on from the steel wool. And then throw away that paper towel and get one fresh piece of paper towel and one last turn of alcohol. Try not to get your fingers on the build surface because finger oils and dirt will be a prohibitor to adhesion. You can always grab it by the tab. And there we go. We've installed and prepared the build surface, so it's ready to print. I hope that process was pretty clear and helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or if you have any other advice or tips. Like I said, the links to the alignment guides, printable alignment guides, will be down in the comments as well. And make sure you share and like us and subscribe. Thank you.